On March 2nd, 2023, Tennessee became the 8th state to enact a total ban on gender-affirming care for minors and the first state to impose major restrictions on drag performances. This follows laws in recent years that restrict bathroom access and sports participation by transgender youth, as well as several others targeting LGBTQ citizens. And sadly, they might not be the only such laws we see this year, as several others are currently before committee. If you are a queer-identified person living in Tennessee, these are truly terrifying times. It strikes me that all of this is going down in the middle of Lent. In case you aren't familiar with Lent, here's a quick thumbnail sketch. In the Christian tradition, Lent represents the 6.5 weeks leading up to Easter. And among other things, it's a time that we often reflect on the story of the last few weeks of Jesus' life and ministry. And it occurs to me that there are an amazing number of parallels between that story and what's going on now. Jesus had a ministry that was really quite radical. He preached a profound message of love and inclusion, one that threatened to upend the social norms and even social order of his day. He shared meals with people widely considered to be outcasts. He healed people whom most others had largely written off. He showed compassion and empathy to people whom many others of the time simply despised. And let me pause here and say that if Jesus were alive today, I am confident that part of his ministry would have been directed at LGBTQ people. We would be the ones that would be invited to share a meal with him. We would be the ones that he would be saying, hey, remember that God loves you, and yours is the kingdom of heaven. Like I said, Jesus was actually quite radical. And when that radical message started to take hold, when more and more people were getting really excited by what he was saying, the religious authorities of his day utilized the power of the state against him. I think we're seeing something similar happening today. In the last decade or so, queer people have finally started to gain acceptance in mainstream culture and even a few legal protections. That doesn't mean it's easy to be queer today, as many challenges still exist, especially for trans folk, but it does represent significant progress. And I think that progress has alarmed conservative religious authorities of our own time. Just as in Jesus' day, these contemporary religious authorities are utilizing the power of the state to outlaw, harass, and intimidate us. For reasons that are too complex to explore here, they feel threatened by our recent gains. They are responding with incredible force. Just as in Jesus' time, what they want is to erase us. And here's where I find hope. Just as with Jesus, this is not the end of the story. The powers of his day arrested, beat, and executed him. And they thought that would be that. But it wasn't. If you keep reading, the story tells us that a few days later, he didn't stay dead. The real end of that story is the resurrection. It's basically God saying, is that all you've got? I overcame death. Check. What now? Similarly, these mean-spirited and frankly immoral laws will not be the last word. I don't know what resurrection looks like in our story. Our story is still in Lent. But I know that Easter is coming. I know that love is stronger than hate. Even though there may be darker days ahead, I know that God loves us, and we will not be left in darkness forever. Just as with that first Easter, new life is coming. In the end, if we continue to struggle and endure, we will emerge more radiant than before, and that light will shine so brightly that nothing will ever overcome it. Stay safe out there. Take care of each other. And hold on to hope. It may take time, but our Easter resurrection is coming.